Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Look at well, you can't see it because I'm standing in the shade. You can see a little bit back here. There is this bright orange thing in the sky. It's really bright to look at, and it's warming it up around here. It's been, I believe, well over a week since we've seen the sun, and while it's still a little chilly, we are very happy to see the sun shining today. It's amazing how it lightens the mood and just finally sunshine. Anyways, today I have some very important videos to show you, so please stick around because I believe this is quite possibly the first kind of proof that there is an organized effort going on to cause a lot of chaos and disruption over the November 3rd election from that point through the inauguration, which I've been talking about it. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did a video on the 10 things that you need to do and get ready for before the election. It is happening soon. This is the last weekend building up to the election. So if you have anything that you need to do to get yourself prepared, you only have a few days. And some of the stuff that I'm going to show you will kind of hopefully show you that this seems to be a very real thing. I've talked about it in the last couple of days. National Guard units all over the country have been activated. Police departments, everything from the state level down to local level, and in many jurisdictions, they have canceled any type of vacation time off. They've pulled in extra officers. Some of them have even been pulling in like recently retired officers, reserve officers. They've been training and preparing for this for the last few weeks. I believe that there is a very good chance that places all over this country are going to see a very intense civil unrest. And like I said in the recent video, even if you don't live in one of those areas that are most likely to see it, it could disrupt supply lines. It could disrupt services that would trickle down to you. So this is pretty important. I'm also going to give you a couple of tips. We'll talk about this after I show you some of these clips. So we're going to get into them pretty quickly. This comes from a YouTuber and Twitter account. Some of you may have heard of her. I know of her a little bit. I've seen a couple of her things, but not really deep into it. Millie Weaver, or Millennial Millie. I believe she started out and may still work for Alex Jones's Infowars.com. She's an independent journalist and has some pretty good information at times that she's able to uncover. She must have some really good sources. So this is from her. This was released last night, October 29th, on her Twitter account. This is some exclusive footage that they were able to obtain from a Zoom call where multiple heads of organizations, very left-leaning organizations, and military contractors, government employees, Democrat Party heads. We're having this big Zoom call planning for creating civil unrest on Election Day and through to the inauguration. And they were able to get this exclusive video. So I'm going to show you some clips from that. This is pretty serious stuff, folks. I don't want to scare everyone. That's not the intent of this video. In fact, as preppers, we should not live in fear because that's why we do prep. We do get ready for things. So some of the organizations that were mentioned in this is an organization called the Sunrise Movement. It's young people involved, I believe, in like environmental issues, very left-leaning. Shutdown DC, Black Lives Matter, Democrat Party, federal employees, contractors that are federal employee contractors. We're all involved in this. So let's watch a little clip of them basically kind of telling who they are, where they come from, who they work for.
I'm a management and programs analyst.
I work in the national security community.
I spent 3.5 years as a contractor at DHS
groups on
HQ.
the outside being able to show solidarity with federal workers.
And I'm sure, there's probably more. This is the clip that was shown by this Millie Weaver. So we're only going by what they're showing. But did you hear that these people, there are people that have worked and currently work in the government. They're working with government employees. They say that in the video that their network is currently working with people that inside the government, inside the intelligence community. The point is here with this part is we're not talking about disgruntled, rebellious college students that are sitting around and they're getting stoned and they just hate the system and we're going to go out and we're going to, riot and cause violence. These are some very plugged in people. This is very orchestrated, a coup attempt and disruption of our society. This is a true insurrection, folks. We're not talking just some kids out there knocking things over and burning buildings. These people are inside the government. They're talking about how they work with the media, and we're going to listen to this clip here.
If you read the mainstream press, they all have Signal accounts. Text them, leak everything you can. The journalists I've dealt with have been super ethical in ways to shield me, to be the source of the leaks.
From the way this guy sounds, we're not talking like they just kind of pass stuff along. They really sound like that they are working closely with the media. Now, this is something we've all talked about. We all know that the media is on their side. But here's someone basically just spelling it out, that they feed the media information and the media does their work. This is truly a coup attempt, and we know that because, well, they say that it is a coup attempt.
Making sure that we're naming what is happening as a coup.
Totally agreed. In the Shutdown BC conversations that I've been having, and that's not on the federal side, we also are often saying, like, call it a coup.
They're not being shy about it, are they? They're not trying to use the proper words. They believe this conference call that they're on is not public. So we're hearing what they really intend to say, not what they would say maybe in front of a TV camera. And they're talking about shutting down DC and other cities. And listen to some of their plans. I mean, these guys are organized, right? They're not, like I said, just a bunch of disgruntled, people that hate the system and they hate capitalism. So we're going to go out and we're going to party and burn. I mean, these are some serious organizers, folks. And this is happening. I have not seen any evidence as of yet to indicate that they're trying to stop this ahead of time. In fact, what it looks like, the government and law enforcement, military are just getting ready for it to happen. And so instead of trying to cut it off before it happens, they're preparing to react to this. But listen to their shutdown procedures that they're doing.
Do we have any plans for how to respond if there's a coup?
Come to BLM Plaza anytime after 4 p.m. on election night. On the 5th, we're going to shut down the White House.
Map the White House and know every access point so we knew we could blockade it.
On the 6th, we're going to shut down larger parts of Washington, D.C.
We've been working on a target map and a framework for scenarios. So where are all the police stations? Where are all the key government buildings? Who are the Trump boosters?
Members of Congress that are coming in, we're going to meet them at the airports or at Union Station and send them back to where they came from until we deal with the situation that we're in.
And they go on to say how, talk about how organized they are. I mean, these guys, they know their stuff. And like they say, there's people that work for DHS, the intelligence community. So these guys and gals aren't just nobodies. They're probably very smart people. Some of them may have military background. They obviously have intelligence background. Some of them, if they work in that community, they would know how to do this, probably because they've been trained how to do this. That's what they do. These agencies, they're training these agents, government agents, how to do this kind of stuff. That's what the CIA does in going into foreign environments where they cause disruption and social unrest. But now that those tactics are being used here on U.S. soil, and they were trained by our taxpayer. The taxes that you paid in, paid for the training that these people are talking about using against us. The last part here is pretty, I don't like to use the word scary, but it's definitely eye-opening. I want you to listen to this last clip, where they're talking about openly admitting that their plan is to cause civil unrest, even to the point of lethal violence.
We are going to be in a crisis, but we want it to be one that we are creating. Whoever's got the guns can win. Let's take over the buildings. If there are people that are willing to do that, we should support them. Get ready to shut your city down on the 4th or the 5th.
They make no bones about it, folks. I mean, they are quite serious, it sounds like. And this is why we have to be ready. I understand that many of you may live out in the country like I do, and probably isolated and insulated and have no chance of seeing that type of civil unrest. But it's certainly possible, and definitely for those of you that live in larger city centers, urban areas, suburban areas, what we will possibly start seeing coming November 3rd and November 4th, it may be something that you have never seen or couldn't imagine seeing on U.S. soil in your lifetime. So, and the other side is it may be nothing. But it doesn't hurt to prepare. You should have a plan, a stay-at-home plan, a plan to secure your home, secure your entrance and exits of your home, windows. I would, depending on where you live, I would have the ability of covering your windows to make it look like that you're not home. Ways to barricade your door. Try to make your house as secure as possible if that's where you're going to stay. If you're able to do a temporary bug out, maybe you have family members or a vacation spot out in the country, it may be a good time to try to use that if you are at all possible or capable of doing that. I'm not a big advocate of bugging out, but this is one of those situations that a temporary bug out might help. If you left for a week, by the end of next week, we will probably have a pretty good idea of how intense this is going to be. The election's on Tuesday. This will start, according to them, really ramping up Tuesday evening into Wednesday. By that weekend, next weekend, we should have a pretty good idea of how big this is going to be, or if it is just all talk. So if you're able to go on a little mini vacation and go to grandma's house out in the country, might be a good chance, good idea to do that. Over the next few days, and there's only a few, there could be increased purchases of supplies. It's been talked about all in the news that people are stocking up, getting ready for this election. So if you don't have what you need, it may be difficult to get what you need, but it wouldn't hurt to try it. Things like guns and ammo, if you don't have it, you may be a little too late. Even places like Walmart has announced that they're taking their guns and ammo off the shelves, sticking them in the back, securing them, because they anticipate more rioting and looting like they saw up in Philadelphia a few nights ago, where the store was completely destroyed. The stock market is taking a big hit, and it's doing its little roller coaster thing, but I think overall we're going to start seeing some trouble on the economic side of things. The thing that what I'm reading is these people that are doing this, instigating this, they don't really care at this point who gets elected. They're not doing this, they're saying, if Trump wins. They're doing this regardless, because they want Biden to know that if he gets elected, that they'll do the same thing to him, that he needs to be in their pocket. They know that they probably aren't going to get Trump, so they're going to riot for that reason. But they'll do it for Biden. But here's the thing: the odds of Tuesday evening or even Wednesday morning or any time Wednesday over the next, those couple of days after the election, the odds of having a confirmation on who won and the other side conceding is probably pretty slim. Both sides have said that they will not concede. If there is any suspicion whatsoever of foul play, this election could drag out. Social media has geared up to try to quell the unrest, they say, but I'm sure it's going to be the other way. Facebook, Twitter, all these types of social media platforms has altered and improved their policies getting ready for the November 3rd election. There's hardly an area of our society right now that doesn't seem to be preparing for that. I've even seen a few reports of businesses getting ready for it in the way of like bringing in generators, being able to better secure their buildings. This is happening just about everywhere. Now, because it's happening everywhere, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but I think the odds right now are in such a good favor of something going on coming next week that we really should do our due diligence to prepare. I don't want you folks to live in fear, and I know that some of you have contacted me that maybe you live alone and you're in the city. I understand, and as much as I can, and you're in my prayers. That's for certain. When I see stories like that, when I see emails sent to me, that's what I do, because I understand how scary it can be for some of you living in the place that you are, knowing what you might have to endure over the next coming weeks. But we have to do what we can to be prepared, keep our wits about us, don't become panicked, because when we do, that is when we're not able to think clearly. Once you become panicked, there are ways to make it through really tough times like this. Not knowing any of your personal situations, I can't give specific advice, but securing your home, trying to have a way to cook things, inside your home, doing some research on that, the fuel that you need, filling up your car tanks, fuel tanks, and maybe some extra fuel that prevents you, even if there's not a fuel shortage. If there's a lot of civil unrest and rioting and violence, having extra fuel on hand would prevent you from needing to stop off at a gas station where you could be more exposed. Being stocked up on food, there may not be shortages, but it keeps you from having to go to the store and exposing yourself to more violence. That's part of the point of stocking up on some things over the next several weeks. Ideally, you should have enough to get you through 3 months, but you may not. So getting through at least the worst part, potentially, the initial part may be the worst, we don't know, will at least limit your need to go outside more. And so that's part of it. It's a little startling to even have to tell people this, to talk about this as if it is really happening, and knowing that the possibility of this level of civil unrest here in our nation is quite possible and never before seen. So have plans. I said before in another video, try to make plans to know where your family is. If you've got kids, older kids living at home or whatever, it might be a good deal to talk to them and say, hey, we're not going out. If you have to go to work and come straight home. We're not running all over the place, running errands and doing stuff over the next few days, because we need to stay at home, keep ourselves kind of locked down for a while to see how this plays out. Like I said, by the time next weekend comes, if nothing's happened, we might say, okay, it was a false alarm. It was, just all talk and no action. But it does not hurt to prepare yourselves to lock in for what we might, in fact, be facing, folks. All right. Just get ready, because it sounds like they are. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.